Hello and welcome to That Shooting Show. My name's Steve Anderson. I am your humble host. I want to thank our primary partner, Walther, who wishes me to remind you that all of the Walther competition appropriate pistols do come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you get one and you don't like it for any reason at all, they will gladly refund your money and take that sucker back, and you can go right on down the road to an inferior pistol of your choice. That is not likely to happen, but if it does, you won't be out the cash because Walther will give it back to you. Also want to thank Targets USA, who manufactures the finest steel targetry on the planet. Boy, we give that stuff a workout. I want to thank Terry and Gary, who came down to the range, and also Joseph, who came down to the range yesterday. I want to commend that young man. He worked his butt off in 90-plus degree weather and 90-plus humidity and just continued to work and work and work. And you can always come to the home range here in Newark, Ohio, in the shadow of the famous Longaberger Basket Office Building, which is for sale, by the way. And you can get a quality shooting workout under my tutelage and get on the road down to your full potential. I also want to thank CR Speed, who manufactures the finest gun handling gadgetry on the planet. Hunter's HD Gold, as you know, is the only eyewear that I wear. And of course, the AMG-Lab.com Command Timer continues to turn heads and blow minds by putting the time into the tablet. And OutdoorDynamics.net remanufactures the finest competition ammunition you can dispense from a Freedom Seed dispenser. And of course, Shooting Sports Innovations is a lot to type. Sorry, there's even more than that. ShootingSportsInnovations.com is a lot to type because there's a lot to see when you get done typing. And of course, you can always go to AndersonShooting.com and click on upcoming classes to see where we're at and what we're doing. We will be adding mental management classes pretty routinely. So keep an eye on those if you're interested in doing the mental management. If you don't see a time that is to your liking, let me know, and we will do our very best to accommodate you in whatever time zone that you happen to be in. We'll be in Deerfield, Massachusetts, coming up here August 4th and 5th, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's right, with a match on the following Sunday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, August 4th, 5th, and 6th, I think. We'll go ahead and double check that so we get about the right information. Take a look in the old schedule book here. Doing that, did that, already did that. Oh, did that too. We did some of that, did a lot of that. We're doing that today. And yes, 4th, 5th, and 6th, Deerfield, Massachusetts. Go to AndersonShooting.com and click on upcoming classes. Today, we are off to do a super secret private mental management seminar for one of the sports dominating pistol teams. Well, it's actually more than that. It's more than pistol. But if you are part of a shooting team and want to enjoy greater consistency, greater success, and all the rest of it, we can do a private event just for you and your team. Give you guys all the tools you need to be successful beyond your wildest dreams. That's just a scientific fact. All right, so if you have a match to shoot this weekend, this is all for you. We were going to call it For Those About to Shoot and do some AC/DC references. Apparently, we've already done that. So we'll probably just do it anyway. So if you have a match coming up this weekend, major match, local match, doesn't really matter. Here's what I want you to do. Number one, reflect on your best performance. And you could read about your best performance in your journal. Oh, that's right. You're not keeping a journal, most of you. Oh, so you can't go back and read exactly what you were doing when you were having your best performance. You can't go back and read about your first match win, your first stage win, the first time you beat somebody you never beat before, exactly what you were thinking and what you were doing when that happened, because you may not have written it down. You may not know the mental conditions that exist in which you shoot your best. Now, you know all the ways you can screw up, and you're telling yourself not to do that. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do that thing, don't do the thing over there, and for the love of Pete, don't think. Telling yourself what not to do is virtually a guarantee that you will do it. Instead, go back and reflect on what you were, not what you were not doing. Well, I wasn't worried, I wasn't stressed, I wanted panic. You can't not do things. but you can do things. And if you go back to your best performance and reflect on what you were doing when you were getting it right, you'll know exactly what to do. And I know that sounds overly simplistic. I know some of you are yelling at the radio right now going, no kidding, pal. Well, here's the deal. If you knew what you were doing specifically when you were getting exactly what you want, you would already know what to do, right? I'm guessing when you shot your best, you knew the stage inside and out, check. You weren't worried about the results, which again can take about 4 different shapes, and you had some level of confidence that is higher than when you're not getting what you want, and you had a low level of thought while you were shooting. It probably sounded like this. Shoot my best when I'm not thinking and I don't care. Yep, that's true for everybody. It's universally true. But that will not be possible when you start to feel some pressure. And when you're feeling pressure, it doesn't matter why. It could be unexpected, it could be expected, it could be intensified, it could be perfectly normal. But when you're feeling pressure, thinking about nothing will not be possible. But you can have a low level of thought while shooting, and we'll get to that here in a minute. And you guys know that's coming because we've done this show 700 or 800 times. I always tell people, hey, I feel like I'm doing the same show over and over again. They say, keep doing it. Keep doing it. We like it. So that's what we'll do. I'm gonna tell you guys how to get this stuff right again and again and again. And if you're seeking consistency, somebody can say it with me. Consistency is the quality of your thoughts and your ability to duplicate them. It's as simple as that. Consistency is created when you're thinking the right things at the right time and you can duplicate those thoughts at those times. That is literally all you need to do. So if you got a match coming up, let me get a quick sip of the water here. If you got a match coming up, I want you to decide right now. You might be driving to a match when you're listening to this program. It could be the morning of. It could be the night before. Decide right now how you want to feel and what you are going to do. I want to feel relaxed. I want to feel calm. Now, relaxation is tough. It might not be possible to feel relaxed on demand. I don't know a way. I don't know of a way to induce the right amount of physical relaxation on demand. There's a couple of different things you can do to become more relaxed, but relaxation is not the goal, precisely because it is not possible on demand. But if you decide how you want to feel in a way that you can control it, and you decide what you are going to do, it can be very helpful to write those things down. Pressure will amplify these thoughts and feelings. I don't know if we can stay relaxed, but we can certainly stay calm. Mentally, we can stay calm. And if we've decided what to do beforehand, and we've identified and decided to do something that's within our control, pressure will amplify your confidence and your ability to do those things. Okay? If you're going to do any dry fire between now and the match, highly recommend you do that dry fire in match mode. That means we've talked about match mode dry fire numerous times. What it really means is 2 things. It means turning on the makeup switch for unacceptable shots, and it's not really about beating a par time. It's about leaving only acceptable shots as quickly as you can see them, which is all you ever need to do. And match mode dry fire is a great way to practice that. I used to set up little stages in hotel rooms with coffee makers and light switches and mirrors and televisions and all kinds of stuff. And the morning before the match, night before the match, I would just dry fire in match mode. I would do a little bit of part-time work just to remind myself that draws and reloads were right where they need to be. You're not going to get any faster 48 hours prior to a match, but you can reinforce the fact that, hey, my part times, my skills are right where they need to be. And then do whatever match mode you're going to do. Probably want to do it in match mode as opposed to speed mode dry fire. Now, when you get to the first stage, I want you to spend 100% of your time in stage prep. Not stage planning, but stage prep. The single biggest takeaway that I had from walking with the super squad at Chiroptics Nationals was that stage planning did not matter anywhere near as much as people think or thought that it does. There were stages we went to where I thought the plan was pretty obvious, and those guys would do 3 different things. There were several times where they used the exact same stage plan I would have done, which made me feel great, obviously. But then somebody would do something different, execute it well, and it really didn't matter that much. In fact, that's one of the biggest takeaways from that match for me was the stages were designed in such a way that you could make pretty much anything work if you could make the shots. And I thought that was very, very interesting. So people spend way too much time in stage planning and nowhere near enough time in stage prep. So you want to analyze, strategize, memorize, and visualize. Analyze what's going on from the written stage briefing, start position, round count. I cannot tell you how many times I've watched people start walking a stage with no clue where the start position is and no clue what the round count was. And the problem is any repetition of an incorrect stage plan will be tough to overwrite. Right? If you walk a stage a certain way 5 or 6 times, you find out, oh, the start position's over here. Well, you just walked it wrong 5 times. And that means you're going to have to walk it right 5 times just to get back to 0. And those initial impressions, I'll have to study this a little bit, but those initial impressions may hang on longer for some reason. If there's a high level of emotion in those initial reps of the incorrect stage plan, those will for sure hang on longer because I think the emotion increases the imprint. But analyze from the written stage briefing, strategize according to what you know you can do. Matches are not for trying stuff. Matches are for doing things that you know you can do. So strategize the best way for you to shoot that stage with the skills you have today. Memorize it. Memorization is simply a function of repetition of the same stage plan. Walk it till it's memorized, and then get off of that stage and do the rest of the reps in your mind. Close your eyes and look at the movie of you shooting the stage. If you're somebody who has a visual patience issue at times, putting a sight picture in your visualization will help a bunch. If you're not somebody that's prone to a visual patience issue, then you may not need to do that. If the stage has a memory element of any kind, put the round count in there. And I like to put the round count in there virtually every time just for consistency. But if the stage has any kind of memory element whatsoever where it's not just go here and shoot what you see, then putting the round count in there can be extremely helpful. Okay? And then you want to visualize in double digits. Remember, every time somebody tells me about the best shooting they've ever done, it always starts with, I knew that stage inside and out. And that can only be a function of significant repetitions of the identical stage plan. And that's the only way to get there. Okay? And it's very, very important that you have a feeling of confidence during all of these activities. And that simply means reminding yourself that you can execute this stage plan and you can make these shots. Now, if you start thinking about a time, or if you start thinking about a hit factor, or if you start thinking about what somebody else is going to do, that is not confidence for most people. There are some occasions where that can be helpful, but only if your feeling of confidence is so high. Meaning, let's say it's a fixed time stage, 4 seconds, and you got to get 12 shots off in 4 seconds, and yeah, that's your goal. Okay, and you know you can do it. That's perfectly fine. Okay, every time you think about the stage, your level of confidence is going to be manifested when you shoot that stage. If you're scared of something, you're probably not going to shoot it very well. But if you know you can do it, or at the very least have a strategy to do something, this would be in the case of a mover, some kind of tricky element, some kind of technical thing. If you have a good strategy for it, even if you've never done it before, and you know you can execute that strategy, that's way better than taking a nervous glance at a weird mover and crossing your fingers. A lack of confidence will always be obvious in your shooting. Presence of confidence will always be obvious in your shooting. Okay? Mental management is all about strategy, skill, and confidence. Strategy in controlling your thoughts, knowing what to think about when, restrict your thinking to that. getting the skill and training so that you can execute all of these things, and having the confidence that you're going to be successful by whatever definition that is. Anybody who's doing something that's not mental management is obviously employing strategy, skill, and confidence. It can't be anything else. Okay? Mental management just makes them easier to understand. And then I want you to shoot at the speed of sight with a singular thought. Remember, everybody shoots their best when they're not thinking and they don't care. Those conditions will not be possible. Those exact conditions will not be possible to replicate under any amount of pressure. Okay? So what you can do is change what you're thinking about and change what you're caring about. Thinking about results, caring about results will always cause you to overtry or undertry. Both of those require the conscious mind, which will, the very definition of that means you will be thinking a lot. And you will not be, so think about it. Well, don't think about it. I mean, think about this. Shoot my best when I'm not thinking. Let's translate that. I shoot my best subconsciously. Okay? I can't get you to a place where you're not thinking, but I can get you to a place where you're thinking subconsciously. Shooting subconsciously. And that is done by thinking about as little as possible. If 0 is the right number, then 1 is the next best thing. So shoot at the speed of sight with a singular thought. As you know, I recommend center the dot, call the shot, or I will see what I need to see. I think something related to vision is the very best thing to use. You for sure don't want to be starting a stage with a laundry list of technical things to execute. By definition, that will be a high amount of conscious thought. Those number of thoughts won't be anywhere near 0. That'll be in the double digits. That is not when you shoot your best. You shoot your best with a low amount of conscious thought. And because 0 is not inducible on demand, 1 is the next best thing. And if you'd been bothered to keep a journal, you could go back and read. Hey, look, I shot my best when I did these things. Okay, cool. Let's look at another one. Oh, hey, I won this stage. I beat a guy I've never beat before. Or I beat a guy for the first time. That's really great. What was I doing there? Oh, look at that. It was remarkably similar to the thing I did over here. But if you don't have those records, you may not know what to do. But I want you to shoot at the speed of sight with a singular thought. I am convinced that the conscious control of speed in competition shooting is always an error because you will always choose the wrong speed. Okay? Now, if you're an overthinker, overthinking is defined as thinking beyond what you are doing or need to be doing. So if you're walking the stage and you're thinking about the results, that's overthinking. If you're walking the stage and you're looking at the competitor stage plan, that's overthinking. You need to restrict your thinking to what you are doing or what you need to be doing, and that will prevent overthinking. If you choose what to think about and restrict your thinking to that thing, whatever it is, overthinking will not be possible. And of course, choosing the right thing will be even better. And I want you to reinforce success or identify a correction after every stage. Stage 1 goes pretty good. You need to understand what you did so you can do it again. That may sound overly simplistic, but people don't know that. Hey, I had a really good stage, then I had a really bad stage, then I had another bad stage, then I had another bad stage. Well, they know all about those bad stages. They know very little about what was happening when they were getting what they want. Now, I'm telling you guys, everybody has slipped into something we could call the zone, right? Man, I tell you, I went out there and time just slowed down. I felt like I was in slow motion. I couldn't believe how great it scored, blah, 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 blah. Well, anytime that happens to you, you need a detailed record of what was happening. You will always find that you knew the stage inside and out. You weren't worried about the results, which either means you knew you were going to do well, you didn't care, or you pre-accepted the results to be whatever they are. Those are all different versions of not worrying about the results. Okay? Let's call it pre-accepting the results as opposed to not worrying about them, because I don't really want to tell you not to do something. But if you'll pre-accept the results, by definition, you won't be worried about them. That's really, really important. A very healthy way to think about results is, hey, I'm going to go out and do what I need to do. The results are what they are. It is what it is. It's a very healthy way to think about results. But after every stage, I want you to reinforce what you did within your control to have a good stage or identify a correction. And for the intermediate to advanced shooter, if you have trouble on a stage, it can only be one of two things, really. Either you didn't know the stage very well, or you had a visual patience issue. And again, we see a lot of brain farts on short stages. People get to a short stage, they think, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. I don't need to walk this at all. Well, the shorter the stage, the easier it is to get double-digit reps of your stage plan. And it's critically important. If you've ever had a reload to one-handed shooting, it's very common for people to forget to do the one-handed shooting after the reload because they didn't get double-digit reps of their plan. Right? The shorter the stage, the easier it is to do. And I need you to approach every single stage exactly the same forever for your entire competition career. Remember, it isn't that we take big matches too seriously. It's that we don't take the local matches seriously enough, which means we don't employ a process, which means we haven't rehearsed a process, which means we literally don't know what to do. And as you're evaluating your performances, I want you to seek greatness as opposed to perfection. What causes the wheels to fall off is people come out of the stage, they shoot pretty well, and they have a list of 6 things they didn't like. They have 6 regrets. So they carry those regrets into the next stage. Even if they're telling themselves not to do those things, they're thinking, oh, I missed this position, oh, I flubbed the reload, oh, I missed the steal. Well, when you reinforce those behaviors, they are becoming normal. Every time you reinforce a behavior with repetition of thought or repetition of the behavior begins to become normal. Right? This is why people always struggle on steel, or they always tank the classifier, or they always choke. They do the thing once, and then thinking about it literally causes it to happen again in your self-image. Repetition of this behavior makes it become normal. It's why people get into slumps. People get into slumps because they lose and they become experts in losing. Yeah, this always happens. I did it again. Well, that's because repetition of the idea has made it normal. It's not what you want, but it's what you've normalized with repetition. So when you do something great, I want you to own the greatness, reinforce what you did that was within your control as opposed to what happened. If you burn down a stage and you puff out your chest and go, I burned that sucker to the ground, that's great. Highly endorse that. But how did you do it? What did you do that was within your control that you can do again? Burning down every stage is not within your control. But getting a subconscious stage plan and shooting at the speed of sight is 100% within your control. And the training that you have done will determine whether or not that burns the stage down or not. Because what we're looking for first is a winning performance. And what that means is you went out and shot your game. People use that term. I just went out and shot my game. Go out and shoot your game. Come out of it with no regrets. Come in third place. Hey, third place is where I deserve to be. Training is what will turn your winning performance into the winning performance. But until you're able to get a winning performance on demand, mentally, I'm not going to say you're wasting your time training. Now, there is an environment in which you're wasting your time training. If you're training and that training is diminishing your confidence for some reason, then that will be wasted time. Because how you feel about the training that you're doing may be more important than the training that you're actually doing. Oh, there's that touchy-feely crap. There's that mental man. It sounds like some cult crap. Well, if you're skeptical, I highly invite you to reach out to me with your questions and your skepticism. I highly, highly, highly look forward to having that conversation with you. But if you're doing something and your thoughts and feelings are, I am not doing this well, this sucks, I'm no good at this, that is the person that will go to the match. But if you go to training and say, hey, I'm getting better at this. Hey, this is something I couldn't do yesterday. Hey, I'm becoming a better, faster, more accurate shooter. This is great. That is the guy that will go to the match. And how you feel about the training that you do will determine how much of that training shows up in your match. It's just as simple as that. Now, the other mistake people make during training is they do a low number of perfect reps. A low number of perfect reps is virtually useless. A high number of acceptable reps is extremely useful. And if you take that high number of acceptable reps and imprint confidence with every single one of them, hey, I can do this. Hey, I'm getting better at this. Hey, this is going really, really well. That is the guy that shows up at the match. Confidence comes from past success, present success, predicting future success. This is why people that are never happy with their performance don't shoot very consistently, because they don't see any success in the past, they don't see any success in the present. They want success in the future, but they don't expect it, because they don't have any success in the past or present to look at and reinforce. Okay, this is why I want you to seek greatness when you compete as opposed to perfection. Hey, I did that really well. Hey, that was great for me on this day. Perfection is extremely elusive in this sport, unless you win the stage or the match. And if you win the stage or the match, you had a perfect stage or a perfect match. I didn't comment because I didn't want to burst the guy's bubble, but I did have a client today who posted that he just barely managed to squeak out a win, and it took I was on the throne of contemplation, contemplating on my throne, and it was all I could do to avoid commenting on that post. Hey, does the trophy say that you barely squeaked it out? Does the trophy say that you got lucky? Does the trophy say that you barely managed to get lucky enough to squeak by and win first place? No, it doesn't say that. It says first place. If you marginalize or trivialize or abnormalize success when it happens, you make it elusive. Every time you say you got lucky, every time you say nobody good showed up, every time you say the planets aligned, the stars aligned, none of that is duplicable. Not a single luck is not a tactic. Hope is not a tactic. What is a tactic is reinforcing what you did within your control when you got what you wanted. That is duplicable. Remember, consistency is the quality of your thoughts and your ability to duplicate them. But if you don't know what you were thinking, and if you don't know what you were doing when you got it right, or if you don't even acknowledge that you got it right, what are you going to do in the future? You don't know. You could write me a book about the times you've screwed it up, but what do you know about your best performances? What did you do that was within your control when you were getting it right? That is what you must understand. And if your confidence is being diminished by training, then you're wasting your time training. Wow, you're not going to shoot good in practice because that's the definition of practice. I get it. It doesn't matter how you shoot in practice. It matters how you feel about how you're shooting in practice. You can get confidence from virtually every event that happens on the range. Hey, I know what to do. I know how to fix this. I am fixing this. Or I'm experimenting, so it's perfectly normal to make some mistakes. Anytime you're trying to improve a skill or a set of skills and you're doing some experimentation, there will be some issues. Because you're taking a subconscious skill, you're taking an old subconscious skill that was available without conscious thought. By very definition, you got to think about it in order to improve it. Well, it ain't going to be perfect while that's happening. Look at that as a good thing. Hey, I'm learning a new way to do this. I'm getting better at this. I am finding the correct way, as opposed to that sucked, that sucked, that sucked, that sucked, that sucked. See the difference? Well, if I'm not tough on myself, I'm never going to get any better. Well, there's an element of truth to that. But if you don't acknowledge success and improvement, you're never going to get access to it. All right, so hopefully you've enjoyed this program, and we got off the rails there a little bit at the end. I got a little passionate, started preaching, started thumping the Bible on the pulpit a little bit there. Let's just go back to what you can do at this match. Let's just finish up that way. Decide how you want to feel. Decide what you are going to do. Understand that any pressure you're feeling will amplify whatever you are thinking and feeling. So if you can control what you're thinking, control what you're feeling, you can control what pressure amplifies. The only time pressure is a problem is if it amplifies fear, doubt, worry, anxiety, because those things will be amplified by whatever pressure you're feeling. You don't need to understand it. It doesn't matter why. It could be a really small local match. You could be feeling pressure for some reason. It doesn't matter why. But it does matter that you understand that whatever you're thinking about will be amplified. Spend more time on stage prep than stage planning. Get double-digit reps of every single stage and some combination of walking and visualizing. And remember, the ultimate test is If you can't remember every target of every stage of the match you just shot, you never knew those stages well enough. That's just all there is to it. Okay. As you're planning your stage, make sure that you are manufacturing in confidence in real time by acknowledging and reinforcing, hey, I can do this. This is what I am going to do, and I can do this. And then when that timer goes off, shoot at the speed of sight with the lowest amount of conscious thought you can manage. The easiest way to do that is to pick one thing to think about. And just be advised that the thing you choose to think about will happen. So if you're thinking about speed, you'll be fast. If you're thinking about doing it in 4 seconds, you probably will. But that may be all that happens. That's why I like that single final thought to be something related to vision, because controlling what you are choosing to see is, in my opinion, the best thing to control. And I'm not an expert. That was a joke, by the way. I most certainly am an expert. Ha. What you see is highly predictive of where the bullet's going to go. How quickly those things happen is a function of your training. So I think it's far better to control where those bullets go because I'm pretty sure that's what they score. Well, they also score the time. Well, that's true. That's true. They score both. The speed comes from training. The accuracy comes from you seeing what you need to see to fire every shot and leaving only acceptable shots as quickly as you can see them. That's what you need to do. Leave acceptable shots as quickly as you can see them. Okay? All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed today's program, and I hope you have a wonderful match. If there's anything I can do to help you get to your goals sooner, remember, saving years of struggle is my specialty and my passion here at AndersonShooting.com. You don't have to spend years stuck in C class. Hell, you don't need to spend months stuck in C class. We've got this figured out, right? There's 3 things you need to do to achieve virtually unlimited success in this sport. I know what those 3 things are, and if you'll do them, I can promise you'll reach your potential as quickly as possible. All right, folks. Once again, hope you enjoyed today's program. Until we meet again on the range, on the Zoom, on the phone, or anywhere else, be like me, do what I do, say it with me. 1, 2, 3, get to work.